Now, Mercury over 2014 goes retrograde 3 times. It usually does every year for about 21 days. And the retrograde periods this year are from the 6th to the 28th of February, and that goes through Pisces, Aquarius. The second time is the 7th of June to the 1st of July, and that goes through Cancer and Gemini. And the third time is the 4th to the 25th of October, and that goes through Scorpio and Libra. Now, you may notice that there's 3 water signs and 3 air signs, but the actual moment of going into the retrograde phase is happening all 3 times in water signs. Now, in general, Mercury retrograde periods are a time when things that we're used to in this very mind-driven world that we live in start to kind of stall, like the engine of the wheels kind of sputter, slow down, the gears aren't working properly. I mean, it can literally affect vehicles, in fact, and also communications equipment. I usually find that it's people who've got strong Mercury emphasis in their chart, like a Mercury ruled sign, Gemini, Virgo, or rising sign or moon sign, or indeed that the planet Mercury is in a prominent position. These people usually are more sensitive to the Mercury retrograde times. But I mean, we've all of us been involved, because if it's not to do with us in our chart, it's the people we're trying to connect with, you know, that letter that hasn't turned up yet, or that call that hasn't arrived that we were expecting, which we needed to hear from that person about that thing, because once we've heard that, we know what to do about this thing over here, which connects with that thing over there. And it's, you know, Mercury rules the nervous system. Mercury rules wires across the world, and also in our body, and to a degree. I mean, even our chakras and our you know, how the nervous system connects into that. So Mercury retrograde times can be exasperating, you know, and things get delayed. We have to rethink, we got to reschedule, we got to rebook, we got to reboot, we got to rework, we got to review, we got to tweak things, we got to kind of rethink in some sort of way. So rather than be exasperated and tearing our hair out and feeling frustrated, particularly with it being in water signs over 2014, why not work with it, you know? And working with it, particularly in the water signs, which are about emotion and about reflection, is actually to slow down as much as we can, you know, engineer spaces in this very bustly, busy world where our minds are kind of running pell-mell and almost like running us, you know, scripting us. It's very unusual, except in meditation, that our minds are ever, you know, quiet, and of course during sleep as well. So in water signs, you know, is to slow down and connect with deeper levels somehow or other, connect through maybe the heart more. So not so much expecting everything to kind of click together with the mind, with communications, with across the wires, but experiencing, listening, and coming more from the heart. So getting ourselves into the situation where we can do that, like you know, just going out for a walk and smelling the flowers, getting near water, that would be good, and just kind of chilling out and looking at the water and reflecting, taking stock, pondering things a bit more. Being more sensitive and to ourselves and what our, you know, what our inner needs are, you know, taking the pulse in the shower in the morning, you know, how am I today? Because of course there's so many vibrational winds at work all the time. As an astrologer, I'm more aware of that. You know, it's vibrational weather. That's how I see astrology. It's not as tangible as the weather we can see with the wind making the trees move, or the sun, you know, burning our skin, or making our backs feel warm, or, you know, but it is vibrational weather. And these Mercury retrograde times, particularly 2014, in all three of the water signs, is an opportunity. So if we don't see Mercury retrograde as a time of setbacks, but a time of opportunity to take stock, ponder, review the past, maybe be more sensitive in how we're coming across to others, being perhaps more sympathetic and receptive, and also being sympathetic and receptive to ourselves. So being more contemplative, and definitely going in for meditation, sitting down and doing a bit of, you know, writing therapy, listening to music, going in for dancing or other sort of watery things like photography, anything to do with the arts, film, just really being more aware of the meaning behind the words. You know, Mercury retrograde, especially in the water signs, might be because Mercury rules words, language, you know. So being more aware of the sort of deeper facet of Mercury when it's going retrograde is to be more aware of not just the outer shell of the meaning, which is the word, but what's inside the shell, which is more to do with the meaning. So yes, having to strive a little bit harder for absolute clarity in communications, because there can be crossed wires. I mean, the world doesn't go away, but taking whatever space or time you can and having that kind of intention, set the intention that you are going to be listening more from your gut, from your heart. Mercury retrograde times can mean that things are a little bit up in the air, or what you thought you heard or what you thought you meant got misconstrued, or indeed it can, you know, happen the other way around. So taking, just going slower, connecting more with nature, connecting more with animals, children, connecting more with the sort of deep heartbeat of Mother Earth, touching base with Source or higher self, however you want to see it, allowing ideas just to gently float up to the surface from deeper levels, letting go as much as you can of what that, you know, that record that's got stuck in your brain about a problem, and trying to find a solution. I need the answer, I need the... Let it go and allow, you know, we don't give our bodies enough credit, or our whole beingness enough credit. And when I say beingness, I mean outside of the body, how we are linked to realms beyond. We don't give them enough space, because actually when mind is in the way, chitter chatter 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 all the time, it kind of sets up static. It kind of sets up a barrier against hearing in a different, from a different part of our being, you know, not through the five senses, not experiencing and connecting with the world through the five senses, but hearing more from, I don't know what you call it, the heart, the soul, the spirit, the I am. But just letting go of that left brain stuff, and I call it left brain, obviously that's for right-handed people, but you know, vice versa for left-handed people. Left-handed people tend to be more connected in with that flow of the pictorial part of the brain, which is usually, you know, in this world dominated by right-handers, the right side of the brain, the side of the brain that comes into play in sleep, but also in meditation, art, in any imaginative activities, any spiritual type activities, go in for that more, healing type activities as well, that would be a good thing to do. And probably, you know, letting go as much as we can in this world where we're busy and we got to be places and do things and think things out and talk with people, but letting go a little bit more of all of that, and also doing less judgment. You know, we're in a world which is run by judgment, weighing things up, and of course that's natural because we are living in a polarized, dualistic dimension here. But just beyond this dimension we get out of judgment, and so trying to let go of judgment, going more with the flow, Mercury retrograde being in the water signs, and seeking to resolve conflict, because once we get out of judgment, conflict kind of just sort of dissolves away. And then once we get out of conflict, we kind of begin to feel less fearful. But mostly we got a long way to go before we can get completely out of fear, but I think that is probably one of the targets here, and what a lot of us who have been here perhaps many times have been working on. So great time to clear out old rubbish, you know, declutter, detox, go down the dump, physically, but also rubbish emotionally, clearing that out as much as one can, mentally, of course, and psychically. Yeah, and just being, you know, coming more from the heart, and just letting it be, and not try to row ferociously upstream against the current, but just kind of, you know, go with the flow, and put yourself in situations where you can come more from your whole of your beingness, and not just this little section of the body. So I hope you found that interesting.